And welcome inside the Thursday edition of the Backstage Pass. Just a few more days in October. Happy Halloween, I guess, early to everybody out there. I'm ready for the weekend. My daughter's first trick or treat. So we're looking forward to that at the age of almost 3. So she gets to go out there and have some fun, get some candy, and I guess trick or treat, no matter what it is. We got a nice treat for you today out there for you Halloween heads like myself who love horror movies too. Like I said, no, she's not scary, but the music is kick ass. I love that as we're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, MitchMax.com and our friends at Hank Jr. Productions here on the end of, I guess, I say Halloween Eve, but we're just a few days out from that. And next week is November, and her calendar is going to be busy over the next couple of weeks. She's in Nashville in a new single called Hard to Love out there across nationwide, all the digital platforms. Justine Blanchet on the Backstage Pass. Justine, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
It's been a whirlwind the last 24 hours. My kid got sick. I had to cancel shows yesterday, but good news to report. She's doing better today. Little ear thing, little ones just always have
Mm-hmm.
ear infections, so it's rough
So
to
annoying.
put that behind you. It's annoying for her. She was in a lot of pain yesterday, so that's why we missed our show yesterday. But great to have you and great to wrap up the week with you. And let's get right to it. Your schedule is busier, I guess, than
Yes.
busier than busy or busier than busier, however you want to say that. These next couple of weeks in Nashville, you guys are
Mhm.
working on some new projects. Tell us all about this. Tell us about you growing up as an artist and some of these musical influences that shaped you too.
Yeah, of course. I basically traveled to Nashville last year, and I was planning to stay here for like 2 months, and then it ended up being 4 months. I wasn't even planning on doing any recording, but I ended up sourcing 3 songs and just being like, all right, let's do this, I guess. So it kind of just came out of nowhere. And so you're hearing "Hard to Love" is one of these 3 songs that were recorded last year, and, so this time around, I'm recording the last 3 songs, 2 of which will be on the EP. And that's coming out next spring, and it's super exciting. It's a more than a 2-year project, honestly. It's been since, like, 1st year of COVID, so 2020. It's been quite a long, road. I've known that I've had to release an EP for a while because, so far in my career, I've released, well, counting "Hard to Love," 9 singles. They're not all on Spotify, mostly because, the first 4 were kind of embarrassing, but, it's all good and fun. It
Mm-hmm.
was part of the musical journey, of course, and, I just basically grew up listening to so much music, and, we had lots of Shania Twain in the house, lots of classical,
Mm-hmm.
which is not country, but yeah. And people like Reba and Faith Hill, all kinds of these amazing women that were played in my house. And I was introduced to a lot of musical instruments as well. So I played 13 years of piano.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably up to 7 years of piano by now. Sorry, guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Also dabbled a little bit in saxophone, but that's another era of my life. Yeah, I just grew up surrounded by music. I love hearing all kinds of genres. They're all super exciting to me. Um, and they just portray so many different emotions, music wise. I think it's just so cool. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of how I grew
let's
up.
break down. No, it's a great story too, and like I said, just following the dream and just having a little bit of crossover between country, classical, and you got great taste in music. I'm almost say that right now here on the
Thank you.
broadcast because there's a song like "Heartbeat" that's out there that you guys released. Was that 2019? I believe 2019
Yeah,
that
that
came
sounds
out
about
to.
right.
Tell us about that one a little bit because I did enjoy that one as I was going back and putting together my just having you here on the show, the guest list, what have you, and of course listening to the songs, which people know I take a lot of pride in listening to tracks. But I love that song. I love the message it sent, and honestly, it just I use that expression a lot because everybody on any level, any conversation can talk about heartbeat can mean so many different things and so many different, I guess, algorithms out there.
Yeah, for sure. So I wrote that song, I believe, with my singing teacher at the time. It's been so long ago. It doesn't feel so long ago, but it is like it's crazy. And it was just I wanted to do a summer love song. I hadn't done one in a really long time. A lot of what I was writing was just like deep and just very different. So I was like, let's just write like a little summer love song. So we sat down and I really liked the song "Heartbeat" by Carrie Underwood, which she released like years ago, um, probably even like a decade ago. And I was like, I'm just gonna grab the title really quickly and write a completely different song. And so we had a lot of fun filming the music video as well for that. And it was really just like, I think we made the music video quite an overproduction. It was a little crazy, and there was so many bugs that day. I think it was like a 10-hour shoot. It was absolutely nuts, but the final result was quite fun. There's even a blooper video up on YouTube. So yeah, it was just like a whole summer song, and I was like, Heartbeat's super cute, and the place where we filmed is actually 10 minutes from where I live. It's a friend's place. They have
Hmm.
a mini ranch, and yeah, it's lots of fun.
I love it too. It's a great song out there. And again, these songs are available nationwide. If you guys go check it out, and be sure and give Justine a follow there on social media. We're gonna have a couple of three songs actually today. We're gonna do three songs. I'm feeling good on a Thursday because this is kind of like my Friday too. Off early at work tomorrow and get back to do some football coming up tomorrow night in Huffman, which is a little town up the road here, about 2 hours away. CajunCountryRadio.com if you folks would like to listen. Vider at Huffman Hargrave. Let's talk a little bit about Strong. I want to go back to that 2019 track too as well, because you mentioned putting out a lot of singles, getting ready for this big EP release coming up in 2023. Kind of what made you kind of tie and have a close personal relationship with Strong? I felt that one was from real life experience.
Oh yes, it was. I wrote that song a couple months before it was released, and it was really sourcing from personal like bullying experience. And I was like, I'm really like tired of this. And it wasn't the first time that I dealt with bullying. It was a different person, but it's still like hard. And everybody's story is different. But for me, I was back then I was in the Air Cadets, which is it's kind of like Scouts. It's for teens, and
Hmm.
I was, how old was I? 2019. I was, oh my gosh, I was 16 going on 17. And so at the time of the release, I was 16. And, I was doing all these things like music, and I was releasing stuff. I was doing something in my life and all that stuff. And in the town where I come from, a lot of teens just hang out in malls and stuff, which is great. It's all fun and great. But I was doing music, and I was just like focused on this thing. And I think that stemmed some bullying of some kind that I was receiving at the time. Um, so I was like, I kind of just want to write a really inspirational song that comes
Hmm.
from an experience, but not too much dig into my personal side, because that's just very hard to do as a songwriter. But yeah, we just went ahead, my singing teacher again, and I just wrote that song, and to this day, it's still like one of my favorite songs that I've written. And it was actually the first song that I sent on Canadian country radios.
Hmm.
And I used a radio tracker and all these things, and I've started seeing the potential in terms of revenue to put songs on the radio and all that stuff and on satellite radios. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is great. Like I can actually make some pocket change or something. At the time wasn't much, but I started getting my royalty checks from that song, and it was quite a moment in my journey of music for sure.
No, it's a great song, and that's Strong out there across all those digital platforms. Well, I'll tell you what, the first of three we're going to hear today from Justine here on the Backstage Pass. And I always say, take it away. And no matter what order you play them in, they're all great songs. So sit back,
Oh, thank
relax,
you.
if people tuning in and get a chance to hear beautiful vocals from a talented artist. It's all yours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I figured I'd go ahead and start with Hard to Love, and
That's a good place. Yeah.
I was like, oh, why not? And for the other songs, they're going to be songs that they're not out there. They're songwriting songs that I do in songwriter rounds, and people really like them. So, but yeah, this is Hard to Love, and it was written by Courtney Cole, Derek Sutherland, and Kelly Archer. And I got to meet Derek 2 weeks ago, which was so fun. To put a name to the wait, a face to the name. I always get that wrong.
Hmm.
A face to the name. So, and I had met Kelly Archer before, so only Courtney Cole to go. Maybe we'll
Courtney
probably
Cole.
cross paths. Maybe we'll cross paths someday and just be like, hey, I recorded your song. Um, but yeah, this is Hard to Love.
There we go.
Can you hear my guitar well? Hope you can.
I sure can. Hope the listeners
Yeah?
can. I hear it very fine. Yes, I do. I do.
Sweet. All right. Here you go again, calling out 1 a.m. You're either lonely or you've been drink in a pot and you want to pick it up. But I've been strung along long enough. Boy, I like you, yeah, I really do. You should be sharing the same feeling that I do. But you're not, and I'm tired of the cold and the hot, and I know what you got. You could be tangled up in my sheets. You could have your hands all over me. You could be the one who I give my love to if you were messing with my head. Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so? You always make it so. Why you make it so hard to love you? Should be easy falling for you, baby. You got the sweet talk, you got the sexy, and yeah, I feel it when you're here. But then you go and disappear. You say you're in the lead, but all that I see is someone unavailable emotionally. And then you're not, and I'm tired of the cold and the hot, and I know what you got. You could be tangled up in my sheets. You could have your hands all over me. You could be the one who I give my love to if you were messing with my head. Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so? You always make it so. Why you make it so hard to love you? Ooh, so hard to love you. Tangled up in my sheets, you can have your hands all over me. Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Tangled up in my sheets, you can have your hands all over me. You could be the one who I give my love to if you're messing with my head. Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so hard to love you? Why you gotta make it so? You always make it so. Why you make it so hard to love you? Ooh, so hard to love you. So hard to love you.
I love that song. That's why I had to have her back on the backstage pass. Justine Blanchet, the single "Hard to Love" came out August 19th. So definitely, you guys go check it out if you haven't already. Nationwide out there, wherever you download or stream music. We're going to take a quick time out. CJ Garton may join me here in a little bit there from Nashville to ask a few questions there. He's also a Nashville recording artist we support here on the show. Check him out, CJ Garton Music, on socials out there too. Got a pretty good lineup coming up next week. William Michael Morgan is going to stop by on Tuesday, and also another Morgan people might know out there, the legend Lori Morgan, is going to come here on the backstage pass coming up next week too for a couple of show plugs there. We'll take a time out. I want to come back and dive deeply more into Hard to Love with Justine Blanchet here on the backstage pass, again presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at Mitch Max and also HankJr.Productions.com. Make sure you check out our sponsors and all the work they do out there. Quick time out here. It is the backstage pass live on the YouTube channel and at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Coming back.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, and pleased to be joined one of my co-hosts there from Nashville. You can check him out, CJ Garton Music on Facebook and all the socials out there too. He's coming in to always chime in and put that 2 cents right where it is, because this guy knows the music industry backwards and forwards. He's been doing it a long time. Make sure you guys go check out all the good stuff he's got going on out there. CJ, welcome to the show. Back here with Justine Blanchet. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. Just had a little late lunch with the family. Went to a nice little restaurant, and I apologize for being a little bit behind schedule, but I see you guys went ahead and took off without a hitch.
It's all good. She was just talking about her latest single, Hard to Love. Well, Justine, let's dive into that a little bit here on the Backstage Pass and talk about how this one came together. You mentioned a great number of writers. Courtney Cole was one of them. You got to write this song with. She's been on this very show right here. She's super talented herself, no doubt. How did this one kind of come together? What was the idea behind it?
So I didn't write on this song, but it was part of a playlist that I got to pick, and it really jumped out to me because I have been in a situation where my partner was emotionally unavailable. So I was like, this is really relatable. So I figured, let's put it on the EP, and I think there was about a dozen songs on there, and the next single coming up is my favorite of the 3 that we recorded, so I'm super excited for that. But yeah, Hard to Love was in that selection, and I don't regret it at all.
I got to ask you about Got Away, that came out for you guys in 2020. I'm not sure before or shortly after the pandemic had begun. Let's kind of dive into this one too. I love the single cover that you had too, no doubt about it. It's got you in this kind of this blue, I want to say Dolly Parton, but it's just a beautiful dress, and you're kind of out there. You look like just out there in the woods. It's kind of like freedom. It's kind of like, you know what? This is kind of what it made me think about. We're all going through this tough times at the time we are, and even still today, but not what it was a couple of years ago. But Got Away was just one of those songs that really hit home with me too.
Oh, thank you so much. That feels good to hear, because that song was kind of thrown together, not gonna lie. So this song is about getting away from this emotionally unavailable person.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, with COVID and everything, and I had a smaller budget, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do things kind of homemade. And so we actually took the cover art while we were doing the music video shoot, and that was literally like in my parents' backyard in the house that I grew up in for 13 years. And in the music video, you can see me coming out of like our family pool. Like I'm not even joking. Everything happened in our backyard. We we got some of the props at Canadian Tire. Like all of it was very DIY, but I think it turned out okay in the end.
The song is fantastic too, no doubt about it. Hey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this as going through this industry, knowing, and I've heard this expression CJ says many times too, and we've talked about this at the CRS events when we get to go there. We'll be back there in 2023. Nashville being a 10-year town, and some people say, we've been there longer than that. It's still tough to make a break. Talk about just as a female country artist, as an even artist in general, what are some of the biggest challenges you face as a female artist?
Oh man, so many. Well, first of all, I come from a French-speaking province, so I come from Quebec, Canada, and it's very tough because when I started out, I was doing English, and before, if y'all know, and before Matt Lang was big or anything, like I was still doing it, and it was not. It was tougher to get into any things like competitions or whatnot, because they would be like French speaking only, and all that stuff, or like French songwriting only. So it was a big hurdle, and still is. I mean, Matt Lang did open some doors, which is great. I'm very grateful for this guy. But for sure, that's one of the things. And then another is not necessarily related to being a woman, but the people question my commitment sometimes to being an artist, and I'm like, what? And I'm just like, I don't see how you would question that, most musicians, if not all, have a day job, and I have a day job, and it's very hard to try to balance and earn a living and then do music as well, which is something we love doing. So those are some of the major hurdles. And obviously being in Quebec and having lots of the West Canadian be very developed and very in the country music industry being very developed over there is tougher because you're trying to bridge that gap, and it's so incredibly hard. And I have a bunch of friends across the country, but I'm not in the immediate like physical circle, so it's very different. It's just a lot harder.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists that I've seen come. I know Shania Twain's a big one for Canada to come in and make a difference, but I know after 2020, it's been a lot harder to get there and back. A friend of mine, Ruel Lynn, I don't know if you've heard of her or not, but she's an artist also that's from Canada, that eastern area. Culture Wall's a buddy of mine from Western Canada, but it's just a lot tougher to get back and forth too. Are you right now currently in Nashville or in the States?
Yeah, I am. And yeah, just going back and forth. I drive down and I crossed the border last year in August when it was still closed. I was pleading my case, just being like, this is my job. Like, I do music. And because that was the only way you could actually go through. So yeah, I've been through all of it.
Yeah, I know just recently Zach Brown, a few of their bandmates got denied for a major event, so they had to cancel their show because
Wow.
there was a couple that had been detained at the border and they would not let them cross into Canada. So it's heartbreaking to see, possibly 100 and 120,000 fans sitting there to see a show that they paid tickets months in advance for had to be postponed just because we're having some sort of border control issues and connection issues. And I really hate that for us as a brother and sister country, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
What's the speaking of the live shows? I know they're very dominant down here. CJ's been busy touring out there too, and definitely down here in Texas. In every corner you look, Louisiana, and even little neighboring states that we go through here. Justine, how's the live shows or just being back on stage for you in general? Is it starting to pick up? I mean, has it picked up lately?
It has a little bit. I was supposed to play in one of the major Western festivals in Quebec in 2020, and it got pushed to this summer. Like finally, things started opening this summer, like 2 years later. So I was able to do that, which was quite a step because it is the most famous, I believe, the most famous country festival that I think it's over like 2 weeks. So it's crazy, kind of like the Calgary Stampede and everything. So that has been major. I did get to perform a little bit in 2021, but it's definitely harder. And some of the hurdles present with English country, especially in the town that I live in, Quebec, is that there's not a lot of venues to play at. And the culture to support local country artists is very different. Like most owners would be like, well, I could put on a Spotify playlist. Like I'm not willing to shell out money to just like nobody,
Yeah.
which I understand, but yeah, it's just very different.
Yeah, it's tough too. The Spotify playlist. I know you brought up something. I for me as a publisher and writer, I've had a lot of success as a writer, but doing it independently and figuring certain things out. The Spotify playlists and things like that are very important to get on there, but it's also really tough to filter through the get and who are not. And how I had a question for you, just, coming in here from, out of state and filtering through that and who's been wolves and who hasn't. And have you found yourself good Spotify people to help along that? And what's been your thoughts on that?
Are you talking about like Spotify playlist placements?
Yeah, because you want to be careful and hire people that are botting, and then also you want to do organics, but there's also people that really have a great handle on it, but filtering through that can cause a lot of damage if someone is botting and things like that. I'm wanting to see, just from a label standpoint and an artist standpoint combined, what your view on that was, and if you've had any mishaps or any issues with that.
Well, I can't say that I've had like major mishaps at all, Spotify playlist wise. I know that with this last single, I hired a publicist to really help me like get this song most attention because I've been out of releasing anything for a little while. There's a bit of a gap between my last single and Hard to Love. And so he did an amazing job at trying to get this song on so many platforms, and we're getting ready to possibly have it played in Australia, which is going to be so amazing. There's some interviews coming on that end, and it's just, to me, my personal perspective, I'm like, yes, Spotify playlists are important. Yes, they're important visibility wise, but I don't make it that big of a deal, just because I'm like, what happens will happen. What is meant to happen will happen, and forcing it feels like it doesn't make much of a difference. I've forced things in the past, and it's not very. It
Yeah.
hasn't ended up well. So
Yeah. Hey, it breaks my heart whenever we go in and we produce a record on somebody, and they spend so much time and effort and money into making a project, and then they think that it needs to be out tomorrow. If they put as much effort in as the planning ahead, and
Yep.
proper pre-promotion as you do as pre-production, it's going to have a great opportunity to succeed. That's the biggest thing. And I know today's market, you can go in and make a 10-song album, but it's really about singles. So if you're going to
Yeah.
begin promotion, plug one of those things every month, drop something out, and you have something to basically that you can live on as well, and continue to grow and build. So it's always curious. I'm always curious to see how people and artists are tackling that, because I know every day, even for what we do for our artists and ourselves, it's a struggle to find the right the right people to make the right choices. But once you do have that, it makes everything just more efficient. It all cohesively builds a story.
Absolutely. And I even went one step further. As an artist, it's great to get world experience, but I think it's great to get some kind of education as well, just knowing how to market your own stuff. And I graduated at 20 years old with a bachelor's in communications and marketing, and that has been very trivial in planning my own releases and stuff like that. And now I was planning my own stuff way before my degree, but still, I think any type of education you can get along with being an artist is going to be a very crucial part of the puzzle.
Absolutely. I mean, you can go and get a degree, but until you get into a field and actually put that in motion and effect, it's so much more that you can learn. And there's so
100%.
more valuable tools that you can take with you. Because I've learned more from my mistakes than I have my successes, and I think anybody's going to say that.
Exactly. Nothing beats the real life experience. There's a balance to get from that, and I think a little education does help with whatever means you can get, of course.
Yeah, and I tell you, Justine, you see why he's here, right? Those technical little questions. That's why he's in the limelight. He's in the business. He's one of the best, one of my good buddies, and no doubt about it, one of the best pure artists out there who knows the music industry inside and out, because he's been through it, those real world experiences, no doubt. Well, I'll tell you what, hey, performance 2 of 3 coming up here. I know these are songs that have not been released. You got 2 more for us. One here. What are we going to hear first?
So this one, I've played a couple of times, nothing like major, but I wrote this song with Paige Rutledge. I don't know if you know her, but she's from the Ontario area. And so we first wrote the song, and I didn't like the melody, so I kind of went back and just changed everything. And I was like, "Hey, are you okay with this? Like, here's the recording." And she was like, "Yes." And she has an amazing personality. I'm actually gonna get to see her next Tuesday. We're gonna get a co-write because she's here in town. But yeah, this song is called Never Meant to Hurt You, and I haven't sung it in a while, so I hope it's going to be okay and I'm not going to mess it up. But yeah, this is Never Meant to Hurt You.
Here we go.
This song is about breaking up and how many times it broke down your trust. Driving from your place to mine. And we said someday we'd get home where we didn't have to be on the phone, but we got too used to being alone. And I want you to love like it never hurt you, and feel like you don't have to drown out the pain that I put you through. And I want you to smile like it never made you cry, like I wasn't the reason why. There are bruises on your knees and praying all night. I never meant to hurt you. I'll never forget that spark we felt in by the fireplace. It's one of those memories you can't erase, no. And we talked about the places we'd see, even started naming the stars. But we tried to avoid your crazy I know. Love like it never hurts you and feel like it don't have to drown out the pain that I put you through. Love like it never made you cry. I wasn't the reason why. There are bruises on your knees from praying all night. I never meant to hurt you, hurt you, yeah. How we might have been better apart, and you know I wasn't playing a part. Maybe this won't change your mind, but I hope you find somebody to love like it never hurts you. Feel like it don't have to drown out the pain that I put you through. Smile like it never made you cry. Like I wasn't the reason why. There are bruises on your knees when praying all night. I never meant to hurt you, hurt you. I never meant to hurt you. Hurt you, hurt you.
The bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, the Backstage Pass are presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at Hank Jr. Productions, live on the Backstage Pass YouTube channel and also at the SportsGuysPodcast.com. We'll have some good sports coverage over the next few weeks. So Mark Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, is going to drop by. And, of course, Robert Flores used to be with ESPN. He's now with MLB Network. We'll break down some Astros playoff coverage. Back here with CJ Garton on the show. Be sure and check him out, CJ Garton Music, on all the socials out there, too. And back here with our guest and featured artist of the day, Justine Blanchet. I love your voice. I kept saying this the whole time you're playing it, too. Just, he's got that really just country, beautifully just kind of woven with that soul in it too. So definitely,
thank you.
Love that song, no doubt. Jan, thanks for always tuning in. I'm gonna go to some comments over here, and thank you for the insight too. That's what we do here on the show, and CJ brings a lot to that too. More information about that too. So appreciate you tuning in. She tunes in all the way from Australia. So Jan, thanks for tuning in here to the Backstage Pass as always. I want to ask you about this because you did a beautiful track just back in 2021. And I thought this was about as country is, as country does. Get Out of the Mud. Let's talk about this because you've got the truck, the hat's pulled up on the album single cover. You just kind of, like I said, hand down by your side. You got the hand up there on the bill of the beautiful hat you're wearing too, the truck. How did this come about? Because this really showed a different side of you too.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm proud to say that I did write this song all by myself, and I think it came out like in 30 minutes, and it's one of those, like, it just happened really fast. And it was, height of 2020, and we've all musicians have a COVID song, like their COVID baby song. And that was mine because it was peak of summer, and the situation in Quebec was very, very different. And like, in my opinion, they were kind of crazy, but whatever. Not get too crazy here, but
We,
a lot of,
we can
huh?
call it pandemic,
Can you say that again? Sorry.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at a certain time we did have curfews, which was very interesting and frustrating at the same time at the peak of the holidays. But that's another subject. And so this song was really just about being frustrated about everything being closed and feeling like you're trying to open a door and then it's just like gets slammed in your face, and literally all of that was just channeled into a song. And I was like, I haven't written about an F-150, like we should totally do that. And I was like, a typical country move. And
Yeah.
it came in handy though, because my dad's best friend has an F-150, and I was like, hey, could I just like borrow it for like a day? I'll refuel it, like don't worry. And we shot that music video the following fall. And it was perfect timing when we did shoot it, because it had rained the night before, and obviously the song talks about mud and everything. And so I was like, great, there's puddles everywhere. And so the spot that we had picked to like get the truck stuck. And to be honest, like I always plan, I've always come up with my own scenarios for my music videos. I think that's something that's really cool. That's a little aspect of me as an artist. Like I like to be involved in everything. Um, and come up with the stores. But like I can say that for some of these music videos, the ideas have been a little far-fetched, and it's it's metaphor. Like it's just the concept of it. Like don't go too deep into it. And so obviously we didn't have the means or the budget to get this wow, sorry, let me start over. F-150
Mhm.
to be absolutely like stuck. And I was not about to damage my dad's best friend's truck. So my dad moved like this big old rock right in front of the back wheel, and like the comments were just going wild about that rock. Once it was on YouTube, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, of course it's stuck. It's a Ford, duh." And I was like, "Okay, it's just a truck, people. Let's not get crazy. Like it's just a truck. Let's not get heated up. No debate here." But yeah, no, in hindsight, yeah, the truck could definitely get over that boulder there. It was just all about the concept and the metaphorical struggling. So like not
Mhm.
necessarily actually happening. But that was it. That was a little far fetched in my opinion. In hindsight. But it's still very much fun to do.
Yeah.
I had to get completely like drenched at one point in that puddle, and I had rain boots on me, and one of them had a hole in it, so
Oh
it was
man.
very inefficient. And because it was very cold at that time, it was October, but it gets
Mhm.
really cold super easily in Quebec. So I got home. I think we covered the seats with garbage bags because I was full of water and dirt. And then I just drove the truck home, and then took a shower. And because I was so frozen, like the water just felt boiling on my skin. It was very interesting. And then we finished the rest of the filming because like washing down the rest of the dirt off the truck. So overall, it was just a very fun day, a very long day, but very fun.
I'll tell you what. It's Go ahead. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Oh, I just said people get lost. It's so funny when you make a video and you're just trying to share something, whether it be
Yeah.
humorous or whatever. People love to pick apart, factual, things and that's in movies, everything. It's like, oh, this can't happen, this can happen, or I made that, and when the Bow Tie Club shows up with Chevy and everybody, and it's the Ford Chevy competition. So I
Yeah.
like it when that stuff happens. Like even hecklers are still listening. Even people that are heckling you and giving you grief, like TikTok. Like I'm sure if you have that, you're gonna have somebody who loves everything. There's gonna be this one guy that's just literally will go to every single thing like, you suck. And you're like, well, you're still listening then, aren't you? And we love you for it. So this truck, and you're like, yes, absolutely, man, I love you too. It's awesome because you're still getting heard, you're still getting seen, you're still creating interaction. And as an artist, as long as you see that, I think it's a really awesome thing. So,
Mhm.
I purposely throw a few things in there every now and then just to see if somebody's going to pick up on it, or quirks that come around, wear your hat backwards every now and then, or play with your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I like putting like these little Easter eggs or
Yeah.
some references or sometimes just when I can, of course.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys something on air, and I'm sure there's not going to be a billion people that are going to see this, so I'll tell you openly. When I was in the early industry recording, I did a lot of outdoor hunting and fishing shows. And one of these was a straight dog hound hunting show. And
Mhm.
up north, it was up in the Wisconsin area, so not too far, from the border there. And I thought it would be funny when I made this theme song to put in a dog whistle behind the entire song. So whenever the song comes on, the dogs would go nuts.
Oh my gosh, that's absolutely cruel.
Uh, all the people would call, like, my dogs love this show, man. They love it. And I'm like, that is so cool, man. That is so.
No way.
I know he didn't, but and so when the show would come on, like the 15-second blip or 30 seconds of the intro of the song, the dogs would just be going nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Play with things like that, but it's fun. I think that's really awesome. I got to go check out the video now. F1
I do
Fest.
too. Yeah, and Jan was saying she's going to check out the video as soon as this is over. Can't wait to see it. Sounds like a fun video in the mud. And then she's talking about Corb Lund. Yeah, Corb's been on the show with us before. He's got something called Truck Got Stuck. That was fun too, and we love that song over here. So there you go. You got Canadian influence too, which is, and she said, CJ, it's so nuts. What a warped sense of humor you have. So yeah, that's Jan for you out there.
You can't have fun in this business. What you gotta do? You gotta have a good.
No doubt. Keep the comments coming too. Before we get to rapid fire, Justine's got one more for us here to perform here on the show. Again, another one that's not been released, so you guys will want to check all this out once this EP comes out in 2023. Make sure you do that. And of course, Hard to Love is out there across all those digital platforms or wherever you get music nationwide now. What are we going to hear this time?
So for this last one, I sing this song all the time. I wrote it, I can't remember exactly when, but I believe it was probably last year or something like that. I wrote this song called Slide On Over with David Madras and Ella Hart, two other Canadians. And I came into this write, it was a Zoom write, and because we're kind of like all over the world, to be honest. And I know Ella's in LA a lot, and so I came into this write and I was like, hey, I kind of want to write like a song all about like a couch, like just a couch. And there's like barely any references about a couch, except in the chorus, like once in the song, once or twice. And it was literally just about reconciliation and just like whenever there's a fight in a relationship and all that stuff, it was just about coming together on that couch. And it was just like just a cute song. So yeah, that's the song Slide On Over.
Here we go.
Left the TV on last night, and we never opened that bottle of red wine. How can I stay mad at you when the sun lights up your baby blues? And last night wasn't the first time you slept on this worn out couch. We got things to say the night today. No, work it out. So quit giving me your cold shoulder, baby. Come on and slide on over. No, it's too early to apologize, but you know I don't sleep when we don't say goodnight. So I've got a pot of coffee, oh, 'cause I wanna face things will it go all wrong? Hey, last night wasn't the first time you slept on this worn out couch. You got things to say, but not today. I know we'll work it out. Could you give me a cold shoulder? Baby, come on and start on over. Take another moment and get a little closer. Keep moving forward. Hey, last night wasn't the first time you slept on this worn out couch. You got things to say, but not today. I know we'll work it out. So quick, give me a cold shoulder, baby. Oh, your cold shoulder. You come on and start on over. Ooh. Oh, start on over.
The bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, a final few minutes here with Justine Blanchet, our featured artist of the day. Yours truly, alongside CJ Garton back here on the Backstage Pass. Next week, we'll do a show Tuesday. William Michael Morgan is going to stop by here. And then on Wednesday, we just back-to-back Morgan days. It just kind of fell on that too. The legend, Lori Morgan, coming here on the Backstage Pass. We'll talk about Lori doing a show here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, coming up here in just a few weeks at L'Auberge Casino in Baton Rouge. I'll get the date for you guys and put it out there on the social media, because that's one of the reasons we get to talk to Lori Morgan, and she's got a show down here close to us here in Texas and Louisiana here. Justine, we'd love to have a little fun here with the rapid fire. So if it's not so rapid, it does take a little thought sometimes for these questions. So do the best you can. CJ passed the test his first time he came here on the show, which is always a good thing. So some of these do take a little thought, and I'm going to start this a little different. Do you remember the title of the first song that you ever wrote? Or if you don't remember the title, what was the song about?
It was about the process of songwriting, and I completely forgot the title. Oh yeah, it's Sing Like No One's Watching.
Okay, all right. And was it one of those kind of just getting a feel for it? Did you kind of think something of it, that this was going to be something you could turn into to record, or was just having fun with a title and a song, basically?
It was just like for fun, and I was actually inspired from a poster that was on my wall. It was like all these words that related to music, really. That was all it was. And some of these words were kind of just jumping out at me, and I was like, you know what, like these could be in a song. And it was just like the song came out to be about the process of songwriting, which was kind of interesting.
What you got, buddy? Go for it. Rapid fire.
Well, I was going to ask what the poster was, but she just told me. So, but I was like, was it Alanis Morissette or something? I didn't even know what's going on with this poster.
It's just a random poster.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you have a lot of choices to make to decide where you want to go. Why did Nashville feel like a home for you?
Well, it is central with country music and all that stuff, and I had been in Nashville before. I traveled here when I was 16, and I think when I was 14 as well with my family. And I got to sing at the Bluebird Cafe when I was 16 on their like open mic karaoke nights. It's not really karaoke, it's just like open mic nights. And I was actually there last night going for another show. I just really like the ambiance they have there, and getting to say I played there is actually pretty cool too.
I love that.
Oh.
What about favorite food for Justine Blanchet or favorite beverage? What's kind of your go-to food and beverage when you have that craving?
Oh man, okay, so I do have a bit of a dairy intolerance, but I like coffee, so I'll have it with oat milk, and I like grilled cheese, but I had one today and I'm paying for it, so
Ooh,
yeah, it's purely just for the taste buds.
for the
Grilled
taste
cheese.
buds.
You got to hit your grilled cheese, Ree. It's tough, but you can still do it.
Right?
Absolutely. I
Right,
got a quick
go ahead.
for you. So, what is your most responsive song that you play out? Like, I know we have our personal favorites, but what song is a song that you play that you know that every crowd is going to get involved in or seems to react the best?
So there's this one song I haven't played in forever, but it's called Mama, I'm Sorry, and it gets my mom crying. Lots of moms cry from that one. It's super simple. It's just really slow and very poignant words. So and I'm laughing and it makes no sense. But yeah, it's just one of my most poignant songs to get people crying.
Have you tracked that one yet?
No, I haven't. I've actually written that. I think I wrote that like years ago, and I just haven't gotten it any attention to record it all. But yeah, we'll revisit that for sure. I have a catalog full.
I don't know.
All
That's
right.
one of my and we hear you play.
I can't wait to hear that, dude. Next time she comes back, we'll definitely have her play that one too. Let me ask you about this when it comes to performances out there. I mean, obviously the live stage is awesome too, but I want to ask you about a dream stage to step on. If you could pick anything out there, Nashville based or in Canada, something like that, is there a stage you haven't stepped on that you're like, man, this is one of my dream destinations? Where would it be?
I think for me, the Grand Ole Opry is definitely like up there. It's a little
Uh-huh.
unachievable right now, and I right now where I live in Nashville, it's like 3 minutes away, so it's like it's not that far away. But yeah, I think that's like my main stage that I always want to go to because they have like this whole artist entrance, and it's just really cool. But there's plenty of stages in Canada that I could get
Mhm.
to before Grand Ole Opry for sure.
Well, everyone knows right now it's football season. I know Canada doesn't have their own like kind of football NFL thing, but we're trying to get out there and play some shows this
Mhm.
year. Next year, we've done some stuff in London. Do you have a football team or any sports team that you love?
I'm actually not a sports fan like at all. Like the concept of just sitting down and watching people chase like a ball or whatever, it just makes no sense to me. And I'm like,
You have to
okay, I
bet.
get I get like okay, I've played soccer in the past, like with the team and stuff, and it was quite fun. And like I get being on the field and like chasing that ball, like it's great, like team sport spirit, like I get that. But being in the audience and just watching people do that, I'm just like, there's plenty other things I could be doing.
So I could just make you an honorary Titans fan and you'd roll with it, right?
Basically, I mean, I did get to play the I got to sing the national anthem for our local hockey team back in my
Better.
town.
Mhm.
Oh, back
That was years
Mhm.
ago. And I did get to play in a brass band. I don't know if you like brass marching band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Years ago, the national anthem as well. I believe it was in Toronto for the Blue Jays. So
Oh,
I guess
cool.
that counts.
cool.
That's a
See
club
that?
that's going to be back on the radar in the next few years, no doubt. Well, I tell you what, I was going to ask her for that World Series prediction, but I know my buddy Frank tuned in all the way from Philadelphia. We go to spring training every now and then down at the Phillies camp, but it's Astros Phillies game 1 tomorrow night. He says Phillies in 6. We got the pitching. They have the hitting. Well, we'll see about that, Frank. I got Astros in 6. I'm going to go the other way, too. So it's World Series game 1 tomorrow night, too. But, Justine, I got to ask you about this one final one. And I want everybody to check out the website, JustineBlanchet.com, and go get the single Hard to Love. When it comes to pizza, what kind of toppings go on your pizza?
Oh, I like everything, like except for pineapple because that's just stupid. But don't come at me. But
I'm
I
not.
do like I like vegetables on there. Mushroom are pretty good. And this funny thing, I made a pizza with my roommate a couple weeks ago, and apparently Canadians just really like to have their cheese on top and the
Mhm.
pepperoni under, and then American pizza is just like the pepperoni's on top, which I don't get because I'm like cheese holds everything down. Like
Yeah.
We want to see our toppings. We know,
yeah, it just doesn't make sense for me. I'm just like no.
yeah, we know how Domino's is. They might not even give you any toppings, so you got to see them.
And
Right?
I know she was going to say this too. And we've talked about this here on the show. It was kind of one of those topics. Well, it is because I didn't like it before, and I couldn't knock it till I tried it, Justine. But I did the Hawaiian thing, and it actually came out to be pretty good with the Canadian bacon or ham, whatever they call it. And whatever floats your boat, I guess
Yeah.
it's
And did y'all
Hey,
know that like pineapple pizza actually originated in Canada, even though it's called Hawaiian?
interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. I did actually did not know that.
I'm gathering that's the whole pineapple thing. I think the original pizza, the version of the pizza, came from China, so it wasn't even originally an Italian design thing. We have a wood fire pizza oven, and I just seasoned, so I'm probably gonna burn I don't know how many pizzas, but I'll let you know all come out. And for me, Brandon, it's always a pleasure for you having us on here, brother. Taking the chance to step out of the day, all the new artists and everybody that's working out there.
That's what we
Justine,
do.
darling, hopefully we can do some writing and hanging out. Anything that we can do out there, it's power in numbers, is what I say always to everybody.
No,
And
Absolutely.
Jan from across the pond out there, say hi to all my Aussie friends out there, man. I miss it out there in the bush.
we appreciate
thank
you
you
guys and all your time. And Justine, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show. Hope you had a great experience. And definitely when the EP comes out again, we're going to be looking at you in 2023. As soon as the release date comes out, you contact us back. We'll get you on. We'll play some songs and we'll have a lot of fun again. Again, you guys go check out Hard to Love across all the digital platforms out there and give her a follow on socials and check out JustineBlanchet.com for the latest tour dates when they get back on. Hope you enjoyed the experience, Justine. We had a great time.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Next week, William Michael Morgan is going to stop by. We'll talk about his new single, Rhinestone Cowboy. And then Lori Morgan coming up on Wednesday. And coming up here in a few weeks, American Idol winner Noah Thompson. And Madeline Merlot is going to stop by too, coming up here in a couple of weeks on the Backstage Pass. If you don't know who that is, you might want to go look that up too as well. So many amazing artists out there. Justine shaking her head like we know Madeline Merlot very, very well. Another great Canadian artist out there too at the same time. We'll talk to you guys coming up Monday on the Backstage Pass. I should say probably Tuesday. Monday's going to be a sports day. Mark Vandermeer of the Houston Texans will drop by. We'll talk Texan football. CJ, we'll probably get you in on that one too, by the way, talking a little Texan football with the voice of the Houston Texans, Mark Vandermeer.
Threaten me the good time. I dare you, buddy.
No doubt about it. We'll see you guys Tuesday next week. William Michael Morgan on the Backstage Pass. Until then, thanks to all the sponsors and for all of us here. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Later.